identify two main reasons for that. One is that there is not the inclusiveness is not complete. You always talk about including women and the disabled in the development, while actually these are not the only groups that are discriminated against and are excluded from the development effort. There are, as we mentioned before, many others that are even there are stronger discrimination against them, like the poor, the ethnic minorities, the religious minorities, and so on and so forth. And ignoring this usually make you fail in mobilizing the community with the development effort. And you leave out a good part, especially in a country where poverty is more than 40% of the people under the poverty line. So if you don't pay attention to this, you end up not really including the community or mobilizing the community. And second is the monodimensional solutions to the priority problems, meaning that usually you find each organization has one solution to the problems. May that be literacy, or family planning, or women empowerment, or economic empowerment, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, life is not that simple. All aspects of life are interdependent. So you cannot actually address, for example, child labor or child marriage without actually addressing the issue of poverty and addressing the other cultural issues and religious issues and so on and so forth. So this ignoring this interdependency of the factors that affects the people's life is also another reason why our development efforts are not so effective. You can imagine in the whole world there are hundreds of thousands of NGOs, and this is in addition to governments. And they are all working to solve problems like poverty, like literacy, like bad health, and so on and so forth. What did we do all through the modern history? There are still many countries in poverty. There are literacy is still very high. There are violence against women is very high. Children and children's status is really certainly is not something that is positive. So this is what made us think, why are we continue to do the same thing? We need to have a new approach, and this approach would be built mainly on the inclusiveness. And we call it total inclusive development, or TIDE. And it refers to development approach in which community progressively realize comprehensive sustainable development by including all community groups and persons without any discrimination or alienation based on gender, age, disability, religion, and so on and so forth. And also that you need to have this complementary interventions in which all the reasons or root causes of the problems are addressed in the solution. This is by always where the people would participate in all the development activities. So the principle that this was based on is that all members of the community or any nation are equal, despite of their of any factor or reason, and all community groups have talents, have resources, and can certainly offer something to the development to the development efforts. But tide can also be realized through the people understanding, because in many NGOs they do the development activity as if it is an activity of the organization, as maybe more like a charity to the community. So you don't ask the people to really have real part in it or have an opinion in it. You come with a solution usually, and this is usually the donor-driven kind of project, where already somewhere in headquarters in the States or in Europe, they decided that they will do a project for women health, for example, and they already have their priorities set and they have their interventions set. You never really include people in any kind of dialogue, or you really don't ask for their understanding or their participation. And even before you plan the thing, and this is what exactly we've done. We translated this to a methodology that we applied, adopted and applied. So the first is the very important step in having this comprehensive sustainable development by the participation of all members of the community, is that you should understand this community. You should really collect enough information about the groups, the stakeholders in the community, about the characteristics of this community culturally and socio-economically and so on and so forth. You need really to have a clear idea about what are the characteristics of this population that you're dealing with, in order to be able to effectively influence and as well gain their trust and their participation. You need to also study the priority problems in a very profound way. I mean, most people handle the problem itself and not the root causes. So it ends up that it's like the analgesic that you take if you have a headache. But what you are doing actually is that you're just covering it for a while. But you are not looking if, unfortunately, you may have high blood pressure, you may have, I'm sorry, I'm a medical doctor, so I'm giving this example. But anyway, it applies to social work actually, a great deal. It's the same thing. You look at violence against women, for example, or child labor, and so on. And if you really dig deeper, you will find that there are many root causes that lead to this. Even religious extremism is because of poverty. Most probably when people have a better life and when they get better education and so on and so forth, this extremism usually get less, especially in the new generations that have a better life and so on and so forth. So in any case, it's very important that you understand what are the root causes and consequences in order to actually deal with them, not just to have an analgesic for the problem that usually would go away after a while. Also, you should understand what are the resources. You should study the resources in the community. In many NGOs, the basic mistake is that you go on with outside resources that they brought with them, which is important. I'm not saying that it's not, but you should build on what the community have as well. You don't go as if this community has no resources. Certainly, they do have human resources, and if you study them well and what they can do and what they can't do, you can certainly use this capacity in many ways. But it's easier for you to go with your team, well prepared with your money and so on, and do something and leave. And this something, usually this intervention that you have done, usually would collapse the day you will leave. because you have never tried to also look into developing the resources within the community. It's very important that you also study this. You study the development stakeholders and the community dynamics. And usually community dynamics is about how the community makes its decisions, how they run their life, who is influential, who is against what, and who is with what, and so on and so forth. The different development approaches, you need to study what happened before. Usually you go in a community and you think that the community never tried before to solve certain problems that you are going also to address. And you end up in repeating some mistakes that you already have found out that it doesn't work. This way of solving this problem doesn't work, but you never asked, you never tried to see why this failed, why this succeeded. So you end up losing a lot of money and time making the same mistakes.